I'm Tia. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to share with you a book haul. So I haven't done a book haul on my channel since my birthday, I think, and I actually have bought several books this fall. Most of them are mystery, thriller, horror related, but there are a few romances thrown in here as well, I think, and so I just wanted to share them with you. They've been piling up, and yeah, let's just jump into it. The first one is The Vanishing by Witchy Wed. So this one I think is a horror book. I'm not 100% sure, but it's about this woman who, like, one day a guy shows up on her step and asks her to be like a companion to this author that I think she's always admired, like an eccentric horror novelist. Yeah, it's his mother, and he wants Julia to be this woman's companion. And when she arrives at Havenwood, which is the estate where this woman lives, a whole bunch of weird stuff starts happening. I've heard that this was a really good, creepy book, and so I grabbed it. Another book that I've heard a ton of booktubers talk about is Shady Hollow by Juno Black. So I have been hearing about this everywhere over the last couple of months, and you know what happens to me? It's like when I've heard a book 3 times, it's like, well, I guess I better just go ahead and buy that because everyone is saying it's good. So yeah, I picked this up. It's supposed to be, I think, a cozy mystery, but all of the characters are animals. And I think there are already 2 or 3 books out in this series. So yeah, grab that one. I did pick up a Christmas book that just came out in October called Once Upon a December by Amy Reichart. This is one that I had pre-ordered. This one's following a woman who I think has always like really been into Christmas. Her name is like Astra Noel Snow, and I think her and maybe her husband always went on a yearly trip to this Christmas market every year, but now she's going through a divorce, so she's not really into it this year. But I think she goes anyway, and she meets this man, and yeah, I think the reason why I wanted to read this so much is because it takes place at a Christmas market, and it just really seemed like it was going to have great Christmas vibes, so I hope that it does. I picked up a couple of cozy mysteries this month because I have really been into cozy mysteries recently. I grabbed A Salted Caramel by Amanda Flower. This is the first in the Amish Candy Shop mystery series. I've heard really good things about this mystery series from multiple people, and like I said before, I feel like once I hear it from like 3 people, then I think, okay, that's got to be true, then it's got to be good. If that many people are saying it's good, then I'm gonna check it out. Yeah, so there's not much to say about this one besides the fact that it takes place at a candy shop and it's a cozy mystery, so yeah. And then this one I've heard about a couple of times as well, Cheddar Off Dead by Karina Moss. This one is a cheese shop mystery. This is the first one in this series. I read another book, I think it was in September, that took place in a grilled cheese diner, I guess is what you would call it. And yeah, I love cheese. And so anything to do with cheese and books just really draws me in. I'm really looking forward to reading this one. Then I have this romance that I picked up as well. It's called A Confirmed Rake by Martha Keyes, a Regency romance, and it's following like this woman who is finally, or young woman, she's probably pretty young, who is finally getting to enter into society. I think her brother has gotten married, and so she's going to get to leave the seclusion of living with her grandfather and I guess join her husband's household and be able to enter into society. And she meets this man who's a confirmed rake, and obviously romance is going to ensue. Grabbed Soul Searching by Samantha Ann. I think that this is a independently published book, I want to say. I'm pretty sure. This one I just found on my own by searching like romances set in Seoul or in South Korea, and I found this one. It has pretty good reviews. I think it does. I don't know. It's pretty long. It's way longer than I expected it to be, but yeah, it's following this girl who moves to Seoul and she finds romance there, and I can't wait to read this one. I've been really into reading romances set in South Korea lately, so, well, I say that, but I've only read a few but I'm always wanting to read more, and I'm always on the lookout for more. So if you have any recommendations, let me know. I grabbed A Witch in Time by Constance Sayers. I think that this one is gonna have a witch and it's gonna have time travel, and I don't know much more about it than that. Those are like two of my buzzwords, so I didn't want to read too much on the blurb because I don't want to spoil it for myself. But yeah, I really enjoy time travel in books, and also I enjoy reading about witches and paranormal in books as well. Then I got The Marionettes by Katie Weismer, who I believe this is the Katie who is a booktuber, but I heard about this on a video that was recommending witchy books this year. I can't remember whose channel it was, but I'm sorry. Yeah, this one apparently has witches and vampires, and I think that the witches in this book serve the vampires, and this book is also going to have romance, so I'm assuming that it's going to be between a witch and a vampire. But anyway, I've heard really good things about that, and I'm really interested in trying this one out because I did used to watch Katie's channel a long time ago. I haven't watched it in a while, but yeah, I always thought she was fun and her videos were always interesting, and I enjoyed her recommendations. So I definitely want to see how her book's going to be. I picked up the book of Accidents by Chuck Wendig. I really don't know anything about this book. It's just that it has appeared so many times on people's recommendations for best horror or best thriller or whatever. And so I finally picked it up, but I never really understand what it's about. So hopefully I end up enjoying it. I feel like my book hauls are always like this. I have a whole bunch of books that I bought based on the fact that several people said they were good, but I don't really understand what they're about. So we'll see. Near the Bone by Christina Henry. This one is another horror thriller book, and I know it's following a married couple who I think are like on this secluded cabin, or in the secluded cabin, like in the woods, in the snow, and I think her husband is abusive, and also there's something sinister outside as well, so she is having to deal with two kind of evil forces in the book, and yeah, that's really all that I know about it. Then I grabbed Enemies Abroad by R.S. Gray. This is actually a summer romance, so I'm not sure why I picked this up this fall, but yeah, this one is a romantic comedy, and it is following two teachers who are supposedly enemies. Everyone knows it, and they become chaperones, or they're both asked to be chaperones on like their eighth graders field trip to Rome, and I'm sure a lot of funny and fun things are going to happen as well as romance. I've read R.S. Gray before, and her books are always like kind of they're like romantic comedy, but very light. They're not too heavy or anything, and they are good palate cleansers to read in the summer, or you know, I guess even in the fall if you're looking for something to read in between more heavy thrillers and horrors. I had pre-ordered The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. I feel like everyone is snagging this book lately, and I've heard a couple of people I think who have read it now and really enjoyed it, so I'm hoping that I will enjoy it too. But I think this one is about a ghost writer who falls in love with a ghost, which is very intriguing. So yeah, I really want to get to this one this fall, but I don't know if that will actually happen or not. Who knows? Who knows what I'm going to get to. I have The Shuttering by Anya Alborn. This one is a horror that is following a group of friends who are together in a secluded cabin in Colorado for like a holiday celebration or something. But then I think there's something in the woods that is threatening to them. So yeah, I guess a bunch of bad stuff is going to happen. We'll see. Sounds like The Cabin in the Woods, kind of. I don't know. I have De-Evolution by Max Brooks, who is the same person who wrote World War Z. And it sounds like this is actually going to be written kind of similarly. Why can't I say that word? Anyway, it sounds like it's going to be written like that book as far as being told through journal entries and that type of thing. So this one is following the Rainier Sasquatch Massacre. And this is like written a first-hand account. So it's written like through the point of view of the people who actually experienced it by their journals that are left behind, which I'm not mistaken. I think that's how World War Z was written. I only That was one of the books that I like did try a chapter on because my husband loved it so much, but I didn't ever finish reading the whole book. My husband loves that book though, so yeah. I'm really interested in this one. I want to read a book about Bigfoot, and this one sounds like it could be interesting as long as the writing style isn't too dry, which is what my problem was with World War Z. So we'll see how it goes, but my husband wants to read this one as well, so it'll definitely get read by at least one of us at some point. Then I have Stolen Tongues by Felix Blackwell. This is another horror book that is taking place in a secluded cabin in the woods, following this, I think, an engaged couple. And yeah, something is out there to get them. And my husband has already read this one and he said it's quite creepy. So hopefully I will be able to handle it. We'll find out eventually. Then I have Pretty as a Picture by Elizabeth Little. This one is a murder mystery thriller. I think it's taking place on the set of a filming, like a movie being filmed, and I think it follows, like the main character is the film editor, and she has found herself like embroiled in this mystery of someone who's been murdered. Yeah, it just sounds really interesting. I don't think I've ever read a thriller that was set on, you know, a film set, so this should be interesting for sure. Did I just say interesting 100 times? I have The Perfect Child by Lucinda Berry. This is a thriller about a family or a couple who has never been able to have a child, and then I think this like 6-year-old shows up at the hospital where the man works, and he decides or convinces his wife that they should take her home because he's formed like a connection with her, but something is not quite right with her, and I think weird stuff starts to happen around them and with the child. So yeah, it sounds pretty creepy. I'm not sure I'll be able to handle this one actually. Thrillers with children kind of freak me out more than regular thrillers. Then I have The Housemaid by Frida McFadden, and this one is following a housemaid, obviously, who, you know, works for this really wealthy couple, and she sees everything that goes on behind closed doors, but I think she's also keeping a secret as well, and that's really all that I know. I do enjoy thrillers that involve this type of like maid or nanny or someone who works behind the scenes and, you know, sees everything that goes on, is really privy to this type of behind the scenes information. I always enjoy that type of narrative, so I'm looking forward to this one for sure. Then I have Not the Witchy Wed by April Asher. This one is a romantic comedy that's following a witch and a werewolf, and I think that they end up fake dating in order to fulfill some sort of like obligation, or I don't know what it's called, like an arcane supernatural law that they're both supposed to find mates. So they end up fake dating in order to, I guess, make it look like they're actually doing what they're supposed to do. It's set in like supernatural New York. Sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun, and I really want to get to this one. I want to get to so many of these this fall. I just don't know how I'm going to make the time to do it all. Ooh, I feel like I need to read a book a day, which is impossible. Anatomy, a Love Story by Dana Schwartz. So this one is supposed to have lots of gothic vibes. I think it's a gothic romance following a young woman who is trying to become a surgeon. She gets kicked out of the class for some reason. I think because she's a woman and not a man. I'm like, was she posing as a man? And then he found out, I'm not really sure, but and then the teacher strikes a deal with her that if she can pass the test on her own or something, I don't know. So she has to do all of the studying on her own, but she needs like bodies in order to do that. And she meets someone who digs up bodies. I don't know. I've just heard this has amazing like gothic vibes and maybe dark academia. I'm not sure. I've heard lots of praise for this book though. Again, I want to read this fall. Help me. I picked up The Witch Haven by Sasha Payton Smith. This one I grabbed because it's about witches, and I also think it's dark academia as well. I think that this girl just figures out that she has powers, or she is a witch. I think she accidentally kills someone is what it sounds like, and she gets taken away to like the sanatorium, but when she gets there she discovers that it's actually a like private school for witches. The Haxhaven Academy Rules for young witches. Mind your instructors. No unsupervised spell work. Don't leave after dark. So I think she's trying to solve like a mystery as well as learn what's going on at this new school and figure out all of her new powers. I think this is the start of a series. I heard this was a really good book and that it has lots of great supernatural, witchy fall vibes, dark academia. So yeah, hopefully I can get to this one soon as well. Then I have Babel by R.F. Kuang. So this is the one that everyone seems to be talking about lately too. So this is a new dark academia book that's come out, and I think this is like historical, takes place in 1828. Yeah, I don't really know much more about it except for I think it's taking place in Oxford and something about translations, and yeah, I don't really, all I know is that everyone seems to love this book and it's like the new dark academia that everyone is obsessed with, and I really want to read it and know why everyone loves it. So so many books I want to read. Okay, then I have Such Sharp Teeth, which is Rachel Harrison's new book, another one that I had pre-ordered. This is a werewolf novel, and I think it's following this woman who, on her way back home from somewhere, she hits an animal and she gets out to investigate. It's like a large animal and she gets bitten by it and she begins to feel differently and stuff starts to happen with her. Anyway, I can't wait to read this one, much like everything else in this book haul. Obviously, I would have bought them if I didn't want to read them immediately. This is just making me depressed. Okay. Then finally, the last one here that I have to show you is Fairy Tale by Stephen King, another one that I had pre-ordered this fall and got it like the day that it came out. It was delivered. I really don't know anything about this. I just know that it was Stephen King's brand new book, and I think it's following like a young boy, maybe? Okay, so as far as I can tell, this is following like a high school student who's, you know, just pretty normal, into baseball and normal high school things. I think his mom died when he was young and he has sort of learned how to take care of himself, and I feel like people are saying that he discovers like this fairy tale world and you go on a journey with him or something. I don't know. I haven't heard much about this one, you know, except that everybody was really excited when it was coming out, but I don't know if I've heard anyone say that they've actually read it yet. Yeah, maybe I should go searching for some reviews, or maybe I should just wait until I read it, and then see what everyone else is saying. I don't know. That's the books that I have purchased over the last few months. Let me know if you've read any of these and what you thought about them. Which one should I prioritize reading that I absolutely have to get to this fall, because I don't know if I'll be able to get to all of these as much as I would really, really like to. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all doing well, and I will see you next time.